Hey, what up everybody? I'm back. It's been a few weeks, but I'm back for another D&D video. And this video is top 5 magical items to ruin your D&D 5e game. For you, another player, or the Dungeon Master. Whoever you want to ruin it for. I don't know who you want to ruin it for. Now, my inspiration for making this video was partially something that DM Lair said in one of their videos about all the different optimizations and things online. See, a lot of people, especially on on YouTube, but also on websites, etc., have all sorts of how to optimize your character, what magical items you should get for your character, how to make your character really, really good, how to multi-class your character in ways that make zero sense, because apparently every paladin on the planet is the equivalent of a DEA agent who works for the cartels now, because of the whole warlocks getting charisma for attacks, and then you get damage with the smites, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, all these optimization things, all these cool things you can do in D&D, all that fun stuff. But really when it comes down to, no one has the chutzpah, it's an interesting word, to say what they really mean, how to ruin your game. No one's going to come right out and say it's how to ruin your game, except for me. I'm going to say it. I'm saying it right now. So these are top 5 magical items to ruin your D&D game. You know, for you, another player, or the DM. We'll see who, depends on the item. So most people aren't going to tell you that it's to ruin your game for 2 reasons. One, they lack the cojones. And of course, 2, because it's not necessarily guaranteed to ruin your game. Maybe you were playing a game where your paladin made a sacrifice and made a deal with the enemy to save orphans and nuns or something, and that's why they're a warlock with a patron, and it makes sense. And if you're playing a game where that kind of thing happens, yeah, definitely go on YouTube, find an optimization video, and make that character effective. Because you don't want to be the guy who's just like, well, I guess I'm a warlock now, and just completely ignores all of his paladin stuff. Instead, you want to do the fallen paladin thing, you want to do the thing, you want to be effective in the game you're playing. I get that. So not all these things are instantaneous ruiners. So part of my advice, because I'm coming right out and saying it's to ruin your game, is to how to make sure you ruin your game. So that no clever DM tricks or other players or players doing something intelligent will stop you from ruining the game. No, we're going to make sure we ruin that game. So, they are somewhat ranked, but they're not necessarily ranked at the strength of their ability to ruin. That was factored in with how likely you are to get the item and how much it's just the DM's fault if they give it to you, as we'll see in a moment. So without further ado, the top 5 magical items to ruin your D&D 5e game. And here we go. I actually have to be on the screen to click the thing. Here we go. Number 5, we get the classic game breakers. We've got our, bag of beans, wand of wonder, and of course, the deck of many things. These are, I had to put a number 5. I had to include them in the list. They're the classic game ruiners, but I put them at rank 5 because, quite frankly, if your DM gives you a deck of many things, either one of 2 things is occurring. They deserved to get their campaign ruined, or it's the end of the campaign and they want to do something kind of cool and kind of fun for the end of the campaign. Now, in the latter case, it's going to be hard to ruin a game that he's purposefully letting this happen to because it's over, or she, whatever. But it's over, the game's over, we're just doing something fun at the end as kind of an interesting, why ask you about retirement when I can instead force you into this ridiculousness. Now, the other thing is more interesting. If the DM actually puts this item in their game, maybe they think they're Matt Mercer, I don't know, but they put this item in their game. How do you make sure it ruins the game? You don't usually have to do a lot to make sure it ruins the game. But there's one clever little DM trick your DM might try to pull on you that you want to look out for and you want to mess with. So one thing a DM might do is be like, here's a deck of many things, and then they might pull out a deck of playing cards and hand them to you. This is a red flag that they might have actually been prepared for the cards they just handed you. They may have rigged the deck to allow a deck of many things draw. I've actually seen videos where, I don't know if it was Matt Colville, maybe it was Matt Colville, I don't remember, but somebody was talking about rigging a deck of many things to give to their players because they wanted a certain outcome. The best way to ruin this is to go out, buy one of those really cool Deck of Many Things props. Get the best, most expensive one you can get. Keep it in the wrapper. We don't want to cheat here. We're not going to ruin our game by cheating. That's easy. You can ruin anybody's game by cheating. Be that guy that'll ruin a game. But no, we want to ruin the game playing the game the right way. So you bring that wrapped in plastic, brand new, never been opened deck of many things. And when the DM hands you a deck of like regular playing cards, you just go, I brought my own, and they're cooler. And then you open it up, and that was a picture of my daughter that just fell off my screen. Awesome. It helps me. It to help me focus eye contact on the camera. I put a picture of my daughter on the camera, but she fell. So there we go. Anyway, you want that brand new deck of cards that's much, much cooler to pressure the DM into using your cards, which, since they were new in package, you didn't rig. Completely fair. That means all of the cards in the game, including the ones that DM wasn't ready for, are there, ready to go. So that's how you make sure that a deck of many things given too early wrecks a game. With the Bag of Beans and the Wand of Wonder, I'm not really sure how you can prevent that if the DM's ready for it. Chances are they've looked through every option and have prepared for every option, so I don't know how to ruin that. But you know what? It might ruin it anyway. Also, make sure, especially with the Bag of Beans, that you use them at inopportune moments. You know, I think it's the Bag of Beans that can grow like in a pyramid, right? So you want to use that in enclosed spaces, just in case it grows a pyramid. Just wreck the dungeon. You want to destroy things, you want to be that guy. That's how you ruin it. Anyway, that was number 5. Let's look at number 4, magic weapons. Now, I know what you're thinking. So magic weapons are 4 because some magic weapons, they're actually one of the cooler options in the game to give for magic items, and they really do enhance the game when used correctly. We want to make sure we're using them incorrectly. So in the middle there, you might notice the Holy Avenger. There's a lot of OP magic items, Holy Avenger, various intelligent weapons, etc. Those are really designed for sort of end game, like your paladin gets this right before fighting the demon lord. Of course, your paladin's probably half warlock, has a couple levels of warlock by then, but right before they fight the demon lord and kills them, but then that's it. The weapon's gone, your character's retired. You're probably not going to get that early enough to really ruin a campaign. But what I'm saying is the magic weapon that you want is the magic weapon that was based on what you decided to pick as your options to ruin the game in other ways. So, for example, I actually tried to include 2 polearms, not those specific polearms. Trident of Fish Command is not necessarily going to ruin the game, but if you're a polearm master, sentinel, 2-weapon fighter feat, you get all those things going on. That is when the Trident of Fish Command can ruin things, because what you want is to make sure you can spam that one tactic over and over again. This will make the combats as boring as humanly possible, and also make the DM unable to touch any of your characters. Because, all right, let's imagine a scenario. Let's say the DM has some bandits. They kidnapped a girl from a local village. The local villagers contacted someone who contacted you to go rescue this girl. Great. You're going for the rescue. You get to the castle. There's her corpse hanging from this, like, old dilapidated castle in the forest. Yeah, I'm definitely going like with kind of a Skyrim theme on this, with like bandits and castles that are werewolf hunters. Yeah, obviously I play a lot of Skyrim. Check out the rest of my channel. I play it on that thing. It's fun. That thing. No, that's not a weird H.R. Geiger looking thing. That's a treadmill with a bow trainer hanging from it. So anyway, so you see the girl's corpse there. You're like, uh-oh, what's going on? And then you talk to the bandits. Turns out they're werewolf hunters. She was a werewolf. The whole village is werewolves. They're there to fight the villagers because the villagers are evil. But are they evil or are they just misunderstood? It's just once a month, right? What do you do? How do we deal with this? I don't know. There's some roleplay opportunities, but of course, while you're roleplaying with the bandits, one of the bandits who was wounded and they put in the prisons, some moonlight shines in through one of the windows. That's why it's a castle, not an underground dungeon. And boom, he changes, and now you got a werewolf busting out of a prison, attacking all the bandits. You're fighting the bandits are fighting you, the werewolf's fighting the bandits, the werewolf's fighting you. It's a whole thing happening. This is the scenario that I want to talk about, because there's 2 possible things going on in the scenario. All right, you get your polearm sentinel. I'm just using that as a particular example. Any spammed weapon tactic can be subbed in here. I'm just using that one as an example. All right, so when you're fighting the bandits, of course you're going to use your polearm, right? Now each bandit has like what, one silver crossbow bolt, right? Their scout, who's the tracker, he's got like 2 silver arrows, and of course the bandit leader has 3 silver daggers. You end up with a silver dagger because he threw it at you, right? Werewolf coming at you. Uh-oh. If I use my polearm, I can't harm it. It's only harmed by silver or magical weapons. It's immune to piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning from a non-magical weapon. Of course, if I have a magic polearm, I don't care, and I spam the same tactic over and over again, and no amount of DM setup, elaborate setups like that is going to change that and create a situation where you're going to be forced to use a different weapon and a different tactic and make things more interesting. Not going to happen. Without a magic polearm, if you only have a magic dagger or only that silver dagger, you might have to think about things, be more tactical, and that might be interesting. But to ruin the game, you want to keep the combats as uninteresting as possible. So you want a magical version of whatever weapon you're going to spam the entire time. You watch an optimization video, you pick the feats, you pick the classes, you got your charisma bonus for everything. You did the thing that you're doing, and you're going to do the one thing you're only ever going to do in combat. Just that one thing. You want to make sure that you can always do it. You want a magical weapon that matches that. And that's how a magical weapon can ruin the game. So that's why it's also number 4, because it's not the most efficient comparative to some of the other ones. Now, number 3, the blah of flying. We got a cloak of flying. We got winged boots. We got the broom of flying. Flying is a very good way to ruin the game, especially at lower levels. So I'm assuming your DM didn't let you play an Aarakocra for reasons. But you still want to be able to fly over all of his puzzles, all of his traps. You want something that allows you to fly. Even Boots of Levitation works a little bit here, because what you want to do is like, oh, we're fighting trolls. I'm going to be 30 feet in the air, so they can't touch me. I can just peg them all day with spells, attacks, whatever. They can't get near me. Especially if you're a rogue. You come in, attack, disengage, fly back up. No one can hit you. Done. So beautiful. So annoying, no excitement, just foregone conclusion for a combat, but especially if you're not a rogue. If you're like a fighter, you get to keep that combat going for as long as possible, baby, because you're not that efficient at damaging. You're just going to keep going and keep going. Dragged out, foregone conclusion, no fun at all. That's how you use flight to ruin a fight. You can also use flight to ruin puzzles that your DM has come up with. Just skip the entire dungeon, all right? Oh man, you spent hours prepping this really cool dungeon with really cool puzzles. We're gonna fly over. I'm just gonna fly up to the end, do the thing. It's your fault for making it a tower, buddy. I'm gonna fly. You wanna use flight. You especially want these early game. A lot of these items have a very low rarity compared to what they can do. It's one of the things that people point out as why the rarity system is out of control. You could get these at a low enough level that pre-written adventures and DMs haven't considered flight yet. I mean, eventually, once 3rd level spells are around, once druids can start shape-shifting into everything, plenty of players can fly, so flight becomes something that is factored in to the game. But if you can get this before that happens, you can ruin all of those plans, all those cool dungeons, everything, just simply by being able to fly. So that's why blah of flight is number 3 on the list. Number 2 on the list, magic armor. Now, I almost, when I was originally coming up with this, did magic armor and magical like protective items like rings of protection, etc., as separate entries, but I just decided to do this as number 2, magical armor. It's all together. As a fighter, you want plate mail with a plus bonus. You want a shield with a plus bonus. You want, oh man, we got a ring of protection. That should probably go to the wizard. No, I'm taking it. You want to make sure that your character is completely unhittable. That's it. You want your armor class to be 30. An armor class of 30, nothing's gonna hit you. You remove the threat, you remove all the fun, because there's no threat in the combats anymore. Again, just like when you can fly above the trolls, you made it a foregone conclusion. But now, you can do that against people with missile attacks as well, right? They got ranged attacks, great. If you can get items that also help your saving throws, even better. Concentrate on those spellcasters, take them out first, and then just foregone conclusion. Make it take as long as possible. Drag those fights out. Remove the threat, remove the fun. Now, DMs might try to get smart and give, like padded armor or leather armor with a plus bonus to get the rogue and the ranger up in armor class close to the fighter. But no, 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 no. You want to get all the protective items you can on your fighter. You want magical plate. Because plate plus 2 and a shield plus 2, that's 24 armor class. Right? Get a ring of protection plus 1, hey, that's 25. You're going to become unhittable, and that's what you want to ruin the game. Now, most of these were ruining the game for the DM. Some of them, when the combats become draggy and boring, also ruin the game for you and the other players. This next one, though, this is specifically to ruin the game for the other players. And that is your creature summons. A bag of tricks in the middle there, figurines, and I think those are pipes of the... Those are not pipes of the sewer. They're the Pied Piper ones. I don't... No, it is pipes of the sewer. It is pipes of the sewer. I don't remember. They summon rats. These can be... these can be companions, and this guy right here that can summon like 3 or 4 creatures per day, I think. You want to summon all those creatures at the same time. You want to deliberate on each one of their actions because you get to choose what they do. You get to control them. You get to make sure that your turn takes as long as humanly possible. This is especially good for a spellcaster who can cast a summoning spell on top of all of this and deliberate for half an hour on what spell they're going to cast. You can make your turn last a good 20, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. Hence, number 1, creature summons, only I get to play today. What you don't want is to give this to the rogue whose turn takes 5 seconds, right? Because then they could be like, oh, my turn takes 5 seconds, and I'm going to have this cat flank with me, and then I'm done, right? No, they're going to be too quick with it because they are only concerned about getting that one tactic off, which is flanking to get advantage to get sneak attack. You don't want to give it to the rogue. You want to give it to a spellcaster who can also summon creatures so that their turn can literally take an hour. And if you can literally get your turn to take an hour, ruins it for everybody else at the table. That's how you're going to get players getting bored, checking Twitter. And when they get bored, check Twitter, especially now that everybody's verified. Yay, Elon Musk for destroying Twitter. Once you get everybody bored checking their social media or whatever, they're going to start getting frustrated with social media because social media is a giant hellhole since the Russians got involved in it like over a decade ago. You want to ruin your game, you make all the other players bored. Guaranteed this will ruin your game. DM's still in it because the DM's always in it. But the other players are going to get bored and they're going to start leaving, and that's going to kill the campaign. That is how you ruin it with the summon items. So, to recap, I wrote this video because none of the other YouTubers were out there saying what they really mean, which is how to ruin your game with all of this shenanigans. You want to elongate your turns. You want to suck all the fun and excitement out of the combat. You don't want to get stuck with a magic dagger and be forced to make a choice between your crazy optimized tactic and damaging the creature that can only be damaged by magic. No, you want to make sure every player has magical weapons so that creature immunities become irrelevant. You want to get that as soon as possible. This is how you ruin your D&D game with magic items. And sort of a bonus way to ruin your D&D game with magic items is to make sure everybody has one. You want to give everybody a magical item as soon as possible. And that is how you ruin your game with magical items. All right. Like and subscribe, I guess. And yeah, if you live in the 6th district, that's for you. You can tell I support the Onion in their amicus brief. Anyway, peace out, everybody.